and welcome to another episode of Umineko, Requiem of the Golden Witch. It's that time of the week again. It's Wednesday. Hello, Kat. How are you doing? I hope you're all doing good. Yep. Because strap in, folks. Today's gonna be a rough one. Unless I'm very slow at reading, in which case, strap in for next week, I guess. Well, I guess we'll find out today, but yeah, just be aware that today's episode is something. It's gonna be sad, basically. Which you might have expected, really, with the way things have been ramping up recently. I'm glad you're doing good. I'm just going to start up the game, and then I'm gonna go through what we found out last week. And after that, I'm gonna go through the content warnings. I mean, you make a good point, yes. But we're not at the ending just yet. And well, you'll see. You'll see. Alright, let me just click this so that the intro doesn't autoplay in the background. Because I might get DMCA'd for that. Oopsies. Alright, so last week we dove into Shannon's background a little more, especially into her relationship with Battler, who promised to come for her on a white horse. And then his mother died. And he found out that his dad had been cheating on his mother with another woman, and that other woman was having a baby. And they got married almost right after the death of his mom. So rightfully angry, he left the family, and in doing so left Shannon kind of hanging. Just waiting for him to come back. And she told herself, you know, this is a test, this is a trial, I have to be strong for 6 years. Almost 6 years, not fully 6 years. Because we know at some point George comes along and sweeps her off her feet. And we ended last week's episode on the epitaph being placed in the mansion, ordered by Kinzo. Yeah, as a revival ceremony type thingamajig for Beatrice. At which point, Beatrice, newly born Beatrice, shall we say, is comes across this epitaph and the portrait especially, and it's like, yeah, that looks about right. That's me. And that's kind of where we left off. Ava's not gonna let Shannon in her one-bedroom apartment. Oh, I see what you... Oh, no. Well, that's for the best, really. Oh, no. Why does she say that? Why does she say that? It's not your fault, she's the one who said it. Alright. Appropriate timing. We're gonna go over our content warnings, which don't necessarily apply to this specific episode, but apply to the arc as a whole. Just as a reminder, because I don't know exactly what happens when. So this is like a blanket statement sort of type of thing. You know the drill. If you don't, I suggest that you start with episode 1 instead of watching this one, because you will be very confused. Alright, content warning for character deaths, detailed descriptions of gore and body horror, child abuse, discussion and mentions of incest, discussion and mentions of suicide, characters struggling with gender dysphoria, so if that's something that you yourself are struggling with, this can be a rough watch. Take care of yourself, and step away if you need to. And also, just a boatload of misogyny. And, yeah. It's... like Kat said, this is a story about brutal murders happening repeatedly, so... It's kind of heavy compared to the other stuff we do here on this channel. Let's dive in. Here's someone who hasn't said anything in a while. They all say that epitaph is a guide to finding hidden treasure. The rumors tell that the master has 10 tons of gold hidden away. Okay, so in the recap, Beatrice decided to give Shannon a little brother. And, because Shannon decided to give her feelings of love for Battler to Beatrice. So, that's where this boy comes in. That's why he's suddenly here. Yes, those rumors about Beatrice being the one who gave it to him. I've heard that too. 10 tons of gold. That would be incredible. I can hardly even imagine it. If you had all that, what would you use it for? I'd like to touch it, just once. Forget touching it. I'd like to spend it all. Word. Kumasawa knows what's up. Yeah, Gohda is indeed just sorta there. And you know what? That's fine. I almost dove into some background Umineko lore, but I'll save it for after. But why would he go out of his way to present this epitaph? This code showing the hiding place of the gold? That's obvious. He's laughing at everyone, since he thinks no one can solve it. It's a challenge to the rest of us, isn't it? He wants to know if there's anyone here wise enough to solve it. It seems that the master doesn't intend to let Crow-sama take the headship easily. Perhaps the one who solves this will become his successor. Genji-san, what is this? Could this be a portrait of a Beatrice, the woman that father? Correct. This is Beatrice-sama. What on earth? There's a strange little poem-like thing over here. What is this all about? It's almost like a pirate code that shows the way to hidden treasure. Genji-san, what does this mean? The master says to read and interpret as you wish. It as you wish. And that the riddle applies equally to all who can see the epitaph. You said riddle just now, didn't you? That means this can be solved. Yes, it's just as I thought. Father doesn't want Nissan to succeed him. So, whoever solves this becomes the successor. Finally! The tables have finally turned. I now have a real chance to become the head. Well, at least Ava's happy, I guess. What do you think, Kiria? I think it's extremely likely that this epitaph shows the location of the hidden gold. It looks like Aniki thinks the one who solves it will be chosen as the successor. That may also be possible. Father doesn't view Kraus-Nissan as someone who has what it takes to succeed him. Given that Father is reaching the end of his years, this might be a wild, last-ditch gamble to find someone worthy. And yes, that is a picture of an ashtray. So, if we actually solve this riddle, we stand to gain 10 tons of gold, and the position of successor. On the face of it, perhaps. However, I'm sensing some malice, as though he doesn't think us capable of solving it. I doubt it will be easy. True. Looks like this will keep us entertained for some time. Ridiculous. How could anyone solve this? Rosa tossed aside a notepad with the epitaph written on it, and flopped over onto the sofa. Solving this means 10 tons of gold. With that much, I'd never need to worry about making money ever again. And then, maybe he'll come back to me. I know where Father's beloved home of old is. What's the Sweetfish River? There are tons of rivers there. And what village? I don't have a clue. Ooh. What's wrong, Mama? Maria looks concerned. Kids are really good at puzzles, so maybe. Hey, Maria. Do you think you know the answer to this puzzle? Maria gazed at the paper with the epitaph on it as though she was trying to bore through it with her eyes. Her eyes opened wider and wider. What do you think, Maria? I guess it might be a bit too hard for you. This is a witch's ritual. A resurrection ritual for Beato. Where'd you get this? Hey, Mama, where'd you get this? I'm gonna ask Beato. I'm sure this ritual will let Beato regain her full power. She'll be able to appear in front of everyone and do miracles of magic without having to worry about the anti-magic toxin anymore. Thank you for that insight, Maria. I feel like Rosa sometimes must feel like she's in a horror movie or something. Like you ask your kid, hey, what do you make of this riddle? And it's like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, this is an occult ritual to resurrect a 1,000-year-old witch. I'm gonna go ask the witch what she thinks of it. Yeah, definitely like textbook creepy child horror movie. That's still no excuse for beating her, mind you. But I do imagine that she feels really creeped out on a regular basis. what of the epitaph? It seems the family members are all competing to solve the riddle. Good. Let everyone try, and none will solve it, except for the one blessed by a miracle. If I let my guard down, even I might forget the process. That is how difficult it is. Because it is difficult, solving it will bring about a miracle. Precisely. This is the final miracle I will desire while I still live. My final magic. When a miracle comes and allows one to solve that inscrutable epitaph, it will surely mean Beatrice's resurrection. Ah, Beatrice. I just want to see your face one more time. I don't need wealth or honor anymore. If I could only see you one more time. Kinzo understood that he was facing his last years and considered this his final magic. After losing Beatrice across 2 generations, he was betting everything that she had given him in the hope of being reunited with her. His meeting with her that day had been the true beginning of his life. And even after the two of them had left the stage, Kinzo had remained there, alone in the darkness. The aged monarch had obtained everything, accomplished everything. But this was the one element that had always slipped through his fingers, no matter how much he struggled. If he could just have that element, he would need nothing else in his life. In the end, perhaps his whole life was just a journey to learn that one single element makes up all that it means to be human. My friend, will the final bit of magic in my life bring me a miracle? For a while, Genji was silent. He wasn't at a loss for words or struggling to find an answer. During that silence, something had passed between the two men, who had known each other for so long that their friendship surpassed that of master and servant. Yes, so be it. No one is capable of solving it. That is why it would be a miracle. My lord, please, tell me one thing. What is it? If, I ask you, if a miracle does occur, it may have been different when he was young, but in his old age, Genji was not fond of talking about dreams and what-ifs. That very same Genji now spoke of a hypothetical. Kinzo quietly waited for the next words of the man he called a friend. If a miracle does occur, if your magic comes true, and Beatrice-sama does revive, what will you do? As the one closest to Kinzo, Genji obviously knew of the crazed feelings with which Kinzo had sought Beatrice in the past. And yet, Genji was asking what Kinzo would do if Beatrice did revive. My lord, at one time in the past, you experienced the miracle of Beatrice-sama being reborn. If that miracle happened again, what would you do? My friend. So, after all, you do blame me. I cannot claim to know everything about your heart, or the heart of Beatrice-sama. However, I believe that I do know something of the way in which Beatrice-sama adored you. I am racked with regret. You may not believe, but as I have aged, I have come to regret everything. If a miracle does occur, and Beatrice revives, then, of course, I do not care if she knows nothing of the time she spent with me in the past. No. As long as she is Beatrice, I don't care who it is. I just want to apologize. Is that truly how you feel? Yes, my friend. I regret it. I deeply regret the mistakes I made in my youth. You have aged as well, so you must know. I could not feel guilt for the sins of my youth when I was still young. However, like a deep thorn, it began to fester, torturing me. I am willing to accept death in whatever form it may take. However, this thorn, this regret, is the one thing I must resolve. I must return everything to Beatrice, and beg forgiveness for my sins. That is my only and final wish. Oh. Kinzo covered his eyes and sobbed. This aged lord, who had built up enormous wealth in a single generation, was now, at the end of his life, sobbing simply because he wanted someone to apologize to. That's kind of a sick burn, actually. Like, he's crying because he wants someone to apologize to. Because that kind of, you know, very much says, like, oh, even now he's kind of making it all about himself. Which, yes, he fucking is. What a jerk. Wasn't the epitaph a trial grandfather made to choose the successor? I thought that too at first, but it looks like the situation's a bit different. At this point in time, I also thought it was a trial. That it was a game for selecting the successor, which Ushinomiya Kinzo decided upon on a whim. And yet, if for most people, I think if they knew the full story, they'd be like, yeah, fuck you, I'm not forgiving you. And they'd be, you know, totally right to do so. And it wasn't. This epitaph had a special meaning for Ushinomiya Kinzo and Ronouwe Genji. One that only the two of them could understand. So this was not the workings of fate. It was a foregone conclusion. I was no more than a Cinderella, with the pumpkin carriage and glass slippers all prepared beforehand. I get it. So, this was a farce that Kinzo and Genji set up. Kinzo knew, and Genji understood that this was a message to that effect. I don't have a clue what you mean. What did grandfather know? And what does Genji-san have to do with this epitaph? The epitaph wasn't solved. It was allowed to be solved. And then, Beatrice truly revived. If Beatrice's revival had never happened, then when 1986 came, the incident might have been completely different. Ultimately, since the time of my birth, I've never once stood at the crossroads of fate, and have been given the right to make the choice of my own free will. I am one, yet many. And yet, never once have we been able to resist fate. We are naught but leaves trapped in a whirlpool. No matter how we dance, we are bound to vanish into its depths.
Gap's the one who specializes in instant movement. She's the 33rd in rank of the Great Demons. You must really be incredible to have a friend like that, Beato. Ugh.
I see. The Great Demon Gap. Very well, my friend. You will now be Gap. You may call yourself by that name. Ah, she finally has her name. Oh, wonderful. So, you've finally given me a name. It's a relief after being nameless for so long. It's our boy. In that case, I would be honored to receive a name as well. Being nothing more than the head furniture lacks flavor, does it not? Maria, I need a name for this guy too. He is also a great demon and serves as my butler. He is a subordinate whom I can trust.
Ronove, I guess. The 27th ranked of the Great Demons. It's said he'll give you reliable underlings.
My, what a coincidence. The family name of my double, Genji, is Ronoe. Huh, that truly is a coincidence. Yes, there could be no more fitting name for you. Very well. You shall now be known as Ronoe. Oh, how pleasant it is to be called by one's name. I thank you for this wonderful name, Lady Maria.
Just as the form can be a vessel, so can the name be a strong vessel. For unknown creatures of the other world, simply gaining a name can greatly increase their magical power. That's why names are important. Ew.
True. Names are important and wonderful. Right, Leah? You can call me Gap now, okay? Gap. A splendid name. And I'll ask you to stop shortening my precious name. So, you're Virgilia, the one who guides travelers to Beatrice. That is also a splendid name. Perfect for Milady's master. Yes, I do like it a lot. A name is a life. Maria, thanks to you, my friends have found names. I'm deeply grateful.
Ooh. Now it's your turn, Beato. Draw pictures of my bunny friends, like you did for Sakutaro.
Very well. Lend me that grimoire.
Uryu. Beato's drawings are really great. I can't wait to see. What'll it be like? What'll it be like? Can't wait to see the bunnies. Ooh.
They are in a forest band, were they not? A band. A band. Yes, something like... All of a sudden, Maria was no longer a little girl who did nothing but follow her mother around, laughing or crying. Though she is still young, she already has a powerful self-image and possesses enough knowledge of the magical world to surprise even me. Together, we called ourselves Maria our Sorcière and made each other's magical worlds deeper and richer. So, a name can become a great vessel. How very profound.
It's very important to have a form for a vessel, but a name is just as important.
Indeed. Those with names leave a greater impression than those without.
It's not just about forms and names. By knowing more and more about them, you can make them exist much more strongly. So you have to think of lots of stuff for them.
Did you do this for Sakutaro as well? Wow. I accidentally turned on autoplay. And then panicked because I don't know how to turn it off, but we're good, we're fine. I've been playing this for how many hours and that hasn't happened a single time. Yet here we are. Anyway.
Yep. Sakutaro isn't just a name and a form. There's a lot more to him than that.
He's a lion cub, correct?
Sakutaro's a vegetal lion, so he doesn't eat meat. But everyone else thinks he does, so they're scared of him. But Sakutaro's also a scaredy cat, so he's just as scared as the others. Sakutaro's such a coward.
Damn, Maria. Yeah, no, we weren't like playing secret previously unreleased Sakutaro videos, sadly. I would watch those, he's very cute. I mean, it does make sense that she gives him weaknesses, right? Because she just said, like, you need to come up with a lot about them and it makes them more present, more powerful. And that's not gonna work if it's just like, oh, I'm like the best and perfect, and because that's just not... That's less realistic. So adding weaknesses in this sort of magic system that they've developed actually makes the character stronger. Or the people, I guess. And yeah, if you're just all powerful, that's boring. Not fun to play with. Which I think is kind of an important metric for, what, a 7-year-old?
Uryu. I don't eat meat. I'm not a scary lion. Oh, look! A flesh-eating sparrow. Flap, flap, flap. Uryu. Sparrows are scary. Whoosh.
Did Sakutaro make the sound effect himself? Sparrows don't eat meat.
Sakutaro's a coward, so he thinks they do. Did the sparrow go away? Uryu.
Okay, that was cute as fuck.
You're such a scaredy cat, Sakutaro. If you keep this up, Sakusuke and Sakukichi will start making fun of you again. Uryu. I'm not a scaredy cat. The sparrow's back. Flap, flap, flap. No, I'll be eaten. Whoosh.
Sakutaro is quite entertaining. Then, are Sakusuke and Sakukichi his siblings?
Yep. There's little brothers, waiting for him at home. Sakusuke is a lot more reliable than Sakutaro, and Sakukichi is so skillful he can do anything. But they're all really good friends. They all play together on my bed.
Your bed must be covered with lions.
Yep. So I call my bed Lionland. But there's lots of other animals too. Ew.
Lionland, is it? It sounds like fun. By interacting together, all of Maria's friends can reinforce their own existence. She has a great world. Then, we should work on deepening our relationships as well. By strengthening our bonds, our existence and magical power will grow stronger and stronger. Let's expand our world more and more. From what I've heard, Maria's world is far more than just Sakutaro and the bunnies. We have to keep up. My. In that case, shall we find more minions for ourselves? It's no fun with just the gold butterflies. After all, they cannot speak. I'd like some chatty minions who can talk, jump around, and fight with each other. True. Of course it'll be better to spice things up around here. Here in Mariage Sorcière, we have learned how to expand our worlds and create new minions. At this point, the kinds of minions you may create are limited only by your imagination. Milady, what about those? Could you make vessels of those dark tools you found when cleaning out a goldsmith's storehouse? Oh, perfect! Minions manifested from dark-looking vessels like that will surely be fitting for me. There will be more and more of us, and it will get very lively here.
Ooh. We get more and more new friends. That's my magic. And Beato can take my friends and give them a new form. You can make them grow.
You create, and I grow. That's Mariage Sorcière for you. Still, bunny ears are pretty hard. It might take some time before the bunnies manifest themselves. Make sure you make them cute. But of course, this is where I get to show my skill. Create a creature, give it a name, give it a form. Doing that is no different from giving birth to new life. When a human gives birth to a child, they give it a form, give it a name to identify it by, and deepen its character by raising it in the world. Mariage Sorcière is doing exactly the same thing. In our world, we can create whatever creatures we think of, give them forms, give them names, and make them friends we can interact with. We were engrossed with our game in this world called Mariage Sorcière. At least, Maria was engrossed. She would badger me to play this game every time she came. And of course, I was too. However, when Maria started happily drawing something and I just sat there for a while, I must admit that there were times when I sighed and I looked up at the sky, making sure she did not notice. It's fun to increase the numbers of our minions. They make things lively, so I do not tire of it. I may have tired of my minions alone, but when I can interact with Maria's minions as well, that does not happen. It takes two people to create a universe. I now have that second person, so I am satisfied. I think I am satisfied. Yet, one little part of me is not. It truly is a tiny part. After all, it is so much fun playing with Maria that time seems to fly on by. But even so, when I look up at the sky, during those short moments, I feel an empty feeling I cannot describe. I know my universe is not complete. My apologies to Maria, but she is not the second person I seek to create a universe with. No matter how much I nurture my world with her, the roots of love in my heart leave gaps. Four years have already passed since that day. He left saying he would come for me riding a white horse, and I was the only one without a letter. And he even said that he would likely never return to Rokkenjima. This is love? I always believed that love was so much sweeter, so much more intoxicating. But now, I don't know anymore. Though I long for him so much it's maddening, I can sometimes feel hatred underneath. However, even that hatred is wrapped in adoration. The roots of love have remained in the corners of my heart all this time. Some part of me has given up and accepted that Balor might never return. However, the roots of love have stayed right where they were. In other words, even 4 years later, I still believe he will come back someday. The flower of my love is curled up as if to resist the winter cold and even appears to have withered. However, the roots are still alive, and so it endures, waiting for the day he will surely return, waiting for a chance to bloom beautifully again. I am grateful to Maria. Mariage Sorcière has eased the burden on my heart so much. If we had not met like this, I may have withered away along with those roots. Even this incomplete universe is now necessary for my survival. I must live on until I can create my complete universe. Until that day, I will not be complete. Though I have a form and a name, no matter how deep my world grows, I will not be complete. I am not complete. Beato? I accidentally muttered what I had been thinking. Maria stopped talking to Sakutaro. I regretted that my slip of the tongue had ruined this fun time, but I'd already remained silent for a little too long to smooth it over. I laughed, but it probably sounded hollow. Maria, not knowing why my face had suddenly changed like this, looked taken aback. Though my minions will each deepen this world in their own existences, becoming full, I alone will never be complete. I know why I will not be complete.
It's because you don't have enough magical power.
Maria answered instantly. Beatrice has lost her magical power and is unable to regain the power she once had. That is how the story goes. So Maria's answer is exactly correct. Yes, I may be incomplete because I have lost my magical power. In that case, if my power becomes complete, and I revive in the truest sense, will my world become complete as well? Does that mean that the person I want to nourish a universe with will come back? If, as I claim, I really was once able to control miracles at will with my magic, then if I succeeded in reviving, that miracle would surely occur. If that is what I could be capable of, then I want true magical power to use for my resurrection. That's right. It is because I do not possess enough magical power.
Poor Beato. It must be pretty inconvenient with your magical power still weak.
I want to get it back, quickly. My old power.
I guess you'll have to do that thing.
What thing is that?
The ritual of resurrection. The ritual of the portrait's epitaph.
If you read that epitaph literally, it does sound like a witch's resurrection ritual. To Maria, who believes in witches, that epitaph must be nothing more or less than a ritual. Unlike the other family members, it seems that she's not very interested in how it might indicate the location of the hidden gold. If that epitaph's riddle is solved, one might learn the location where Kinzo hid all of the gold I once gave him.
That's the gold you created with magic, right?
Indeed. A crystallization of the great magic I possessed in those days.
In that case, if you get that gold back, your magical power will go back to normal.
Perhaps you're right.
It will. Ugh. It's got to be your resurrection ritual. I'll help, so let's solve it together. And then you'll revive. And when you do, you'll take me to your golden land.
That's right. I did promise that I would take you to the golden land.
You said that all wishes are granted there. There's no black witch there, just Mama who's nice. And I might even meet Papa who I've never seen before. Of course, there won't be any school, or homework, or bullying friends, and we can live happily ever after. Hey, Sakutaro, doesn't that sound fun? Who do you?
The portrait's epitaph. Then, must I face the epitaph's riddle? If Kinzo's children struggled uselessly over it, how could a complete stranger like me solve it? If I did happen to solve it, that would surely be a miracle. Will one miracle bring about another and return my miraculous power to me? Behold the Sweetfish River, running through our beloved home of old. You who seek the Golden Land, follow its path downstream in search of the key. So, am I to travel down a river in Kinzo's homeland in search of a key? As you travel down it, you will see a village. In that village, look for the shore that the two speak of. There the key to the Golden Land sleeps. There may be villages down that river, but what is this shore the two speak of? You who laid hand upon the key must journey as follows to the Golden Land. So those who do not have the key need not read the rest. I do not understand it, but that's how this riddle is. It's practically unsolvable, so solving it would be a miracle. That much makes sense. I felt a stabbing pain in my body. The anti-magic toxin had burned my skin. Some human is probably approaching. I erased my form. Multiple sets of footsteps approached. It was Genji, Shannon, and Kanon too. It seems everyone is engrossed with solving the epitaph's riddle.
Yes. I hear that even some of the servants have written it down and taken it home with them. If you solve this riddle, will you really find 10 tons of gold?
Yes. There can be no doubt of that.
I don't understand. Why is the master displaying the location of his precious gold, even in the form of a cryptic epitaph in a place where everyone can see?
That is the master's magic, and also a bet. The master believes that the soul of Beatrice-sama will dwell within the one who solves this inscrutable riddle.
That's a strange bet. I mean, magic. Looks like he's taken his occult fanaticism as far as it could possibly go. That was a very low voice for Kanon, I think.
I can't always tell how it comes out.
Shh. You shouldn't say that.
All have the right to challenge the epitaph's riddle. Of course, the servants are no exceptions. Are you making an attempt?
No. I could never solve such a hard riddle. And? Even if I had 10 tons of gold, I can't think of anything in particular I'd want to use it for. I'd be more than happy if these peaceful days continued forever. Looks like you and George-sama have been pretty close these days. I just hope being distracted doesn't make you even more of a klutz. That won't happen.
With a backward glance at this conversation, Genji walked up to the portrait and looked up at the witch. When they saw what Genji was doing, Shannon and Kanon immediately went silent. Genji, who was the head of the servants, the closest in age to Kinzo, and the one whom Kinzo called a friend, probably understood Kinzo's heart better than anyone else. What did he think when he looked at this portrait? Neither Shannon nor Kanon could tell. Behold the Sweetfish River, running through my beloved home of old. Suddenly, Genji started reciting the epitaph. Shannon quickly nodded to show that she was listening, but it wasn't clear whether he was talking to her at all. Genji, his back still to them, continued. The master would not describe Odawara as his beloved home of old.
I've heard that he lived far away. Though I don't know where it was.
Taiwan. Genji turned around and spoke that single word.
Oh. Is that so? I see. So that explains what Kraus-sama always used to say. Remember him talking about how the master liked areca nuts? Come to think of it, Kraus-sama said that those were a luxury item, like tobacco that was popular in Taiwan. So that's why the master...
Many Japanese moved to this land in the half-century before the war. Kinzo's family was a branch family of the Ushinomiyas. Apparently, they were only distantly related to the head family, so they were able to emigrate to this new world with dreams of a new future, without being constrained by the head family in Orawara. Shannon and Kano nodded their understanding, but they didn't know why Genji had suddenly broached the subject.
So, there was a river with sweet fish in it in the master's homeland of Taiwan, and the key is there?
Don't be so stupid. There must be countless rivers with sweet fish in there.
We don't know that for sure, right? I don't know where the master lived in Taiwan, but there might have been only one river there. If so, that must be the place.
You're too optimistic. There's no way the riddle could be solved that easily. The master says his magical ritual will gain more power if more people try to solve the riddle. You must try as well, Shannon. Everyone has been given equal opportunity.
Yes.
It's not like we have any chance. So stupid. Genji spun around. Shannon and Kano hurried to follow after him. When his footsteps receded and silence returned, a gold butterfly flitted out from among the shadows. Taiwan, is it? Oh, so he lived quite far away. Behold the sweet fish river, running through my beloved home of old. In other words, a sweet fish river running through my beloved Taiwan. There are countless rivers in Taiwan. Kano was right. How ridiculous. However, the word Taiwan interests me. How could it not mean something when Genji, a man of few words, had muttered it unprompted? Clearly, Genji must have said it in connection with the epitaph's riddle, almost as though it were a hint for solving it. Though I do find it ridiculous. Very well, Genji. Why don't I play along with your farce for a while? Taiwan. I have traveled the world these past 1,000 years, but I know nothing of the place. To counter my ignorance, I shall need a crystallization of knowledge. That which is smoothed out and pressed into many sheets. What is called a book. Where might I find a book about Taiwan? Kinzo's study is the first place that comes to mind if one is looking for books. But that won't work. The charm of that room prevents me from entering. In that case, the book archive. Kinzo's vast library grows each year. It can no longer be completely contained within his study, and so a portion of it is stored in a place called the book archive. Of course, there are countless books just in this place. The archive has everything from valuable books to apparently worthless books, all packed together like an antique shop. There was a golden glint in the keyhole of the archive's door, and a gold butterfly flitted out. The stench of this room is as overpowering as ever. Dust, mold. Yes, the stench of knowledge. Well now, how can I find a book on Taiwan amongst all this? The prospect is almost dizzying. However, I realized right away, if I wanted to quickly find out about Taiwanese rivers, I didn't want a book on Taiwan. An atlas? There must be one of those somewhere around here. Search, my butterfly minions. Find the book I seek in this dusty, noble graveyard of knowledge. A cloud of countless gold butterflies appeared at my feet. They rose in a swell, blew like the wind, and swirled around the archive. Eventually, the cloud of butterflies selected a single book. Apparently, this was the one. Well done. A World Atlas, Asia volume. Perfect. It was a grand, thick, illustrated encyclopedia of maps, several volumes long. There was a thick section devoted to Taiwan. It seemed sufficiently useful as a reference. Taiwan. 394 kilometers north to south, 144 kilometers east to west. An area of roughly 36,000 square kilometers. Oh, that's pretty large. By area, that's about the same size as Kyushu in Japan. This led Beato to a very natural question. Just where on this massive island did Kinzo live? Genji mentioned Taiwan, but that's all. What a careless oversight. Yeah, there's definitely some episode 3 parallels going on here. You're totally right. Beato had imagined, without much thought, that the riddle would be solved in a flash if only she could look at a map of Taiwan. However, Taiwan is no small place. Just which part of this large island did Kinzo call his beloved home of old? Looking through books in this dusty archive, sometimes having to cough, while this simple problem obstructed my progress, was by no means enjoyable. So, the largest city is Taipei. It says here that Japanese people used to live in a spot called Taisho. So, is that where Kinzo lived? No, it's too early to be sure of that without proof. I'll skip to the next part before I settle on anything more specific than just Taiwan itself. A sweetfish river running through the home of old. What's this? There are 129 rivers in Taiwan. 129 rivers? And who knows how many of those have sweetfish swimming in them? Just thinking about it is dizzying. This was quickly becoming ridiculous. Genji must have been muttering nonsense to himself after all. I only thought he was giving a hint about the epitaph. So, the reward for the fool blinded by gold is dust. Nice one, Genji. I tossed the book aside, used magic to turn a bookshelf into a sofa, and plopped down on top of it. For a while, I gazed up at the ceiling as I grumbled about getting tricked. Then, I cast my eyes down at the floor, thinking that I would feel a lot better if I gathered all this room's dust, packed it into a ball, and tossed it into Genji's teacup. A book I had thrown away lay open on the ground. A gold butterfly alighted on that open page. Tossing a book at random and reading an oracle from the page it happens to open to is one kind of charm. Sorry. It's a kind of charm. I see. So that page might have some sort of hint. Not entirely convinced, I picked the book up. The open page was probably very near the one I had been reading. It seemed to be a page explaining Taiwan's geography. Oddly enough, it was a page about rivers and lakes. I already know that there are 129 rivers. Is there something else you're trying to tell me? There were 6 major rivers listed. Shui River? I'm going to pronounce all of these wrong. Guaranteed, and I'm very sorry. Gaoping River, Tamsui River, Dajia River, Zhengwen River, Dadu River. Oh. Now then, could any of these rivers have had sweet fish in them, or not? Then, I had a shocking realization. Sweet fish are freshwater fish, and you don't find ocean water in rivers, unless it's extremely dirty or blocked by a dam. Any river might have sweet fish in it. How foolish. All rivers have fresh water in them. What's stopping sweet fish from living in any river? Come to think of it, what a foolish name this Tamsui River has. Freshwater river? What sort of river isn't a freshwater river? Why not at least wait for something besides freshwater to flow down it and name it after that instead? Tamsui River flows from Taipei to the harbor town of Tamsui. Yeah, I just gotta roll with the pronunciation here and cringe at myself. I see. It isn't called that because of the water in it, but because of the town at its mouth. As you travel down it, you will see a village. In that village, look for the shore the two speak of. I realize that this is stupid, and yet, something about this town seems off. Behold the Sweetfish River, running through my beloved home of old. That line should be talking about one of the 129 rivers. Sweetfish are freshwater fish. And here's this freshwater river flowing down to a town called Freshwater. I do think I'm stretching it. Or is it some kind of hint? I've come all the way to this archive and even gotten myself covered in dust in my search for books. If I give up now, it will all have been a waste of time. Very well. Why don't I test my luck and see if the random page the book opened to contains a message from above? I turned to the next page, trying to search in even greater detail. We treated this riddle as a sort of game, and all of the servants were engrossed in it. I was just trying to be one of that group. I had long since run out of books that I could become enthusiastic about, so, out of boredom, I took that book back with me to my own room and looked through it every night. There's a hint for the epitaph's riddle in an atlas? In the third game, Ava solved the riddle after reading a book in the book archive. Then, in the fifth game, Furuto Erika looked for an atlas in the book archive before solving the riddle herself. Then, there really is some secret in a map of Taiwan. I believe that the Sweetfish River part was code for Tamsui River. Every day, I researched the surrounding geography in detail.
Of course, I also looked up several small streams that might have sweetfish in them. However, that didn't get me anywhere.
According to some information from a previous game, we aren't looking for an actual river. But it was something that flowed. That's how Ava interpreted it.
Not a river? Yes. In the end, Tamsui River had nothing to do with it. However, thinking about it now, it must have been a message from above after all. Tamsui River itself was unrelated, but it was still an incredible hint. The river was unrelated, but it was still a hint.
Slow down and think. Think of something that flows but isn't a river.
So, something other than water that flows.
What comes to mind? Try to think out of the box.
Well, I'm tired of all this puzzle solving. Stop being annoying and come out with it. You've solved it, haven't you? The epitaph.
Blood. True, Cat, you're not wrong. Definitely, something that flows, but maybe not like... Does blood, like, lead you to a village? That was the question. And does it show up in an atlas? I promise I'm drinking, you know, tea and stuff and not stretching for tension. It depends if you spill enough of it, oh my god. You would need to spill like biblical proportions of blood. Though to be fair, in this story, an attempt was made at that. They tried. It must be time, not blood. Could be. I would give hints, but I think we're about to get them anyway. Generally though, if you want to solve this, do it now. Because after this it won't be, you know. You won't get the chance anymore after this. You're thinking right now. Do you need me to pause or? Seriously, I'm just drinking some more water. So. We have time. My throat's a little today, but don't worry, I'm good. Please continue. All right. Probably.
What things flow?
Okay, hold on. Just some vocal failure there. My apologies.
What things flow other than water? What things? Things? Things being transported? Like on a road or a highway? Correct. It took me so long to realize that the Sweetfish River did not refer to water itself.
That's right. There's something other than a river with the name Tamsui. something that carries both people and things, and which flows both up and down.
Both up and down? You mean...
Yes. A railway.
The Tamsui line.
It's a railway that goes from Taipei to Tamsui Harbor. It was opened in 1901. Afterwards, the number of stations continued to grow and it became a major artery into Taipei. This railroad was used after the war as well and is still in common use as the Taipei Metro Tamsui line. Its route begins at Taipei Station and continues on until the town of Tamsui. Taipei Station. Chang'an Station. Old name, Daishogai Station. Shuanglian Station. Tatung Company Station. Yuanshan Station. Jantan Station. Old name, Miyanoshita Station. Shilin Station. Shipai Station. Old name.
What did the epitaph say?
Oh, wrong character, hold on. What did the epitaph say you'd see if you went down the river?
A village.
There's only one station on the Tamsui line with the character for village in its name. And that's the old name of this station. Shipai Station.
How do you read this?
The Japanese reading is Kirigan. Its name was changed to Shipai Station after the war, but when Kinzo lived there, it was Kirigan Station.
As you travel down it, you will see a village. In that village, look for the shore the two speak of. It's not just village. You can also see a shore in the name of that station. I spent no short amount of time trying to decide whether the epitaph truly was referring to this station. It has the character for village and the character for shore. It felt like a kid's puzzle, playing with letters. The first character in Kirigan has the character for mouth. The other half of the first character means that, right? And the mouth could be what the to speak of is referring to. But I don't get what the two means. The three characters of Kirigan can be split into a mouth, that, a village, and a shore. Those all feature in the epitaph. In that village, look for the shore the two speak of. You can read it as a code for the name of the station. However, I don't understand the part about the two. I was also stuck on that part. However, by then, I had a strong belief that this station was what the epitaph referred to. If the station had an old name, then could the place it refers to also have an old name?
That's right. From the start, Kirigan Station was named after a place. The name of that place, which was also Kirigan, is written differently, like this.
There are two mouths. It was clear as soon as I looked it up. The epitaph had to be referring to this place called Kirigan. Then, this is where the key to the Golden Land sleeps? That would be the obvious answer. However, I couldn't have made the long trip to Taiwan to check. And of course, the place known as Kirigan is quite large itself. If a tiny key was hidden somewhere there, I'd never find it. I was at a loss.
But you didn't give up.
I was certain that I'd found the answer, at least at the first 5 lines of the epitaph. To me, this was a game, no, a mystery, more intriguing than any other. I almost gave up at that point. However, I was certain I had the key in my hand. So I decided to follow the epitaph's instructions and journey to the Golden Land. On the first twilight, sacrifice the 6 chosen by the key.
We can tell by this line that the key refers to 6 things. From that fact alone, we can deduce that this doesn't refer to a physical key.
6 things? Yes, 6 things. I wasn't a very flexible thinker, so I decided to look through books for anything related to the number 6. 6. 666. The location of the key called Kirigan was hidden by a word game. So I was convinced that the 6 things would be related to some sort of word game as well. 6. 666. I kept searching for 6. Is there some way to split the characters of Kirigan into 6 parts?
A good idea. But no matter how much you stare at those 3 characters, you won't get an answer. The problem here is that Kirigan is just the Japanese reading of the name.
Then, how did they pronounce it there? It's pronounced Kilio. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that well, but still. The English spelling is 6 letters long. 6 letters? Then it is a word game after all.
Yes, on the first twilight, sacrifice the 6 letters chosen by the key.
I get it.
When explained like this, it sounds like the logic can be taken from beginning to end in no time at all. However, it took a long time for me to reach this spot on my own. A dizzying number of nights passed from the time Genji uttered that single word to the time I got this far.
So, what does it mean to sacrifice these 6 letters?
On the second twilight, we start hearing about those who remain. We can deduce that the epitaph is telling us to remove the 6 letters of the key from some longer word or phrase, and then do something with the letters that remain.
However, what could the 6 letters be removed from? I spent a long time on that as well. It was like the start of an entirely new riddle. And this time, I had to solve it all by myself, without any assistance. I think there was a previous game where someone, I think it was Aunt Rosa, formed some sort of theory about the first twilight.
That theory focused on the 10th twilight's home of the gold. The epitaph uses the phrase Golden Land 4 separate times, but the phrase home of the gold is only used that once.
Why is it written that way only on the 10th twilight? It took me a long time to notice the significance of this, and just as long to discover the reason.
Rosa's theory went like this. She read the home kanji as kyo, and interpreted it as kyo, which she took as short for Kyoto. Then, she reasoned that if you take a 10-day trip from the beloved hometown to Kyoto, there might be some secret at the end of the first 10th of that journey. It was a good theory, but she just missed the mark. Kyo has another meaning besides Kyoto.
Kyo can mean
something other than Kyoto? Don't think too hard on it. You either know it or you don't. There's another meaning of Kyo. One where it's not read Kyo, but K. It's the name of a number. 10,000 is Mon. 10,000 Mon is Oku. 10,000 Oku is Cho. And 10,000 Cho is K. So it's a number. Here, I had a home field advantage since I lived in Rokujima. There was a hint there that made it easier to think of the number K. In fact, you might say that I actually found the answer before I knew what the question was. If you keep making it so complicated, Leon's gonna get a headache. Let's get back to the point. Well, why are you like this? Who hurt you? Give Leon some time. They're keeping up, don't worry about them. Jeez. If you reach 1K on the 10th twilight, how far have you gotten by the first twilight? 1/10 of 1K, and 1K is 10,000 Cho, so 1,000 Cho? Exactly. We remove the key's chosen 6 letters from 1,000 Cho. Since Kilion was written in English, I immediately guessed that 1,000 Cho would also have to be written in English. Thousand Cho in English is quadrillion. As Battler guessed in the 5th game, it has 11 letters. Or should I say, as you guessed. Curiously enough, the first letter is Q. The first letter of the 6-letter key is also Q. I felt that this just had to be right. Leon took a notepad from a pocket and spelled out quadrillion and Kilion. The two words even looked similar at a glance. You're right. The 6 letters chosen by the key are right here, right there inside quadrillion. So, what happens if we take them out? We're left with 5 meaningless letters. However, the important thing is the number 5. After all, in the next part of the epitaph, the word kill appears 5 times. And then, on the 9th twilight, none shall be left alive. In other words, there should be 5 letters left. On top of that, just as Battler-san guessed in the 5th game, 2 of these letters are close to each other. The D and the R. Those must be the 2 who are close. Once you reach this spot, the riddle has been practically solved. Or, put another way, this is as far as you can go with the epitaph alone. You might be able to figure out the answer with a little more wordplay, but you won't be able to activate the mechanism. That's right. Once you know this much, all that remains is to gouge and kill. You had a good idea where the place was, even before you got this far, right? Yes. I suspected that the gold was hidden there even before the epitaph appeared. It was only natural to suspect that the place concealed some secret, because of the mysterious phrase that appears there. What do you mean by the place? The place with the mechanism that opens the door to the Golden Land. By now, a quick-witted person should be able to figure out where to find the first twilight where you sacrifice the 6 chosen by the key. Huh? I thought the first twilight was quadrillion, not a place. It's the place where quadrillion is written. You should know it. One sec. Or did you blindly follow Kinzo's orders and never go near it? In this case, the quadrillion is 10 tones. No comment. Act 9. The day the witch revived. Quadrillion. There's only one place you'll find that word in Little Kanjima. Gold butterflies flitted from shadow to shadow, dodging raindrops. Unless my memory is mistaken, this is probably the place. It was the chapel. That mysterious building, one of the oldest in Little Kanjima, which had been built at the same time as the mansion. It was called the chapel, but not once had Kinzo used it for worship, and the members of the family had never been allowed inside. There were strict orders that none approach it without reason, and its purpose was always a mystery. However, any mystery will lose its luster after several decades. At some point, everyone forgot the chapel even existed, and that splendid building passed from the thoughts of Little Kanjima's residents. Of course, this had been true for Beato as well. Beato, who hated boredom, had no desire to approach places that humans never went. Her last memory of the place was of the time she went in there to taunt Shannon as she tried to clean. There can be no doubt. That is it. Quadrillion. Beato looked up, above the door of the chapel. There is a relief displayed over an arc. I don't know if in English that's like relief or relief like it's in Dutch, but I don't know, let's roll with it. English words were written there. You will be blessed only at a probability of a quadrillion to 1. So, you thought that was the probability of someone solving this riddle? This chapel was built long ago. If there is a mechanism like the one I imagine, Kinzo must have prepared that epitaph riddle many decades ago. He must have been planning to use it as a ritual for choosing a fitting successor all this time. However, that ritual is now a ritual to open the door to the Golden Land and to my resurrection. When I snapped my fingers, the ground bulged, and several dead trees sprouted out of it, curving and twisting like snakes. They twisted around each other to form a ladder, which leaned itself against the door. If my guess is right, there's some sort of mechanism in that relief. I slowly climbed the ladder. Because of the size of the door, the relief, it was very high up. This close up, it looks much bigger than it did from the ground. Come to think of it, whenever we cleaned the chapel,
This relief was the only thing that Genji always made sure he polished himself. I always wondered why he didn't leave something so trivial to the younger servants. I thought it strange, but nothing more. The master treasured this relief. I'm just gonna. Should I just Google it? Because the game is gonna keep throwing it at me. Tiki. Because it's from French, like you have bas relief, which is like a shallow one, but there's also like a medium and high one. And it's like about the depth at which the actual like carvings stick out, I guess. How do I even look up how something is pronounced though? Like, oh, just listen to the audio. I'm not gonna play the audio during the stream. None of this helps. I hate the internet. It is useless to me. The master treasured it, so the head servant cared for it himself. I always accepted that excuse. But now I understand. There must be a trick to this relief. And Genji polished it himself to make sure that no one else accidentally found out. So, from this quadrillion, am I to sacrifice the 6 letters chosen by the key? I prodded and played with the letter Q. My fingertips were soon covered with dust. However, I quickly realized that something felt strange about it. Yes, I found the etymology, but I don't know how to read, like, etymology symbols, so that was useless. Oops. Anyway, don't tell me this letter. No. It had to be like this. There would be no other way to offer up sacrifices. Beato grabbed hold of the letter Q, and after experimenting with different levels of force, the letter came out with a scraping sound. Just as I thought. Here's the Q I pulled out. And there's a wedge. No. It's a key. A key was attached to the back of the Q, and that had been stuck into a keyhole in the relief. I see. In that case, I know what to do next. Very good. This Q key is a wrong answer. Away with you. Beato carelessly tossed the Q key aside. This was the first sacrifice. She kept on pulling out the keys for the 6 letters, representing the key. So, A will also be sacrificed, and both I's. And then, the N at the end. Now, I only sacrifice one L, but unfortunately there are 2 L's here. There were 2 L's. I didn't know which I should sacrifice. You could do though. I tried pulling both out, but the keys were of different shapes. So one is a right answer and one is a wrong answer. Well, there are only 2. If I make a mistake, I can just try the other one. Unless messing up sets off a trap that blows up the island, of course. Thinking it a waste of time to sit here worrying,
I decided on the L on the right and pulled it out. 5 letters remain in the word. There's actually some sound logic to why that is the L you need to pull, but I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to leave the fun of figuring that out to you if you haven't figured it out yet. Yeah, imagine if you pull the wrong one and the whole island just goes kaboom. And now, the first twilight is over. On to the second twilight. On the second twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the two who are close. The D and R are close. What does it mean to tear them apart? Do I pull them out? But if I do, there will only be 3 letters left. By this point, I was able to make a good guess of what the gouge and kill lines from the fourth twilight onwards meant. Gouge and kill probably means to turn the keys and take them out. In that case, the parts about going from head to leg means starting at the left and going right. If that's the case, 5 letters have to remain on the board. In other words, tear apart doesn't mean kill. If so, then we can read tear apart to mean putting a gap between the D and the R. But how? You know what, I think I might have been wrong about my earlier statement. Because I forgot about this bit. That's why you can never trust anything I say about the story beforehand. So it's impossible for me to give spoilers because I'm gonna just remember things wrong. Nice. Good. That's actually real helpful for me. Once again, there are 2 ways to do it. Do I remove the D and move it to the left? Do I remove the R and move it to the right? After pondering this for some time, I realized that both choices were wrong. No. That's not right. I've had it wrong since I removed that L. A short while ago, I removed the right of the 2 L's. However, if I had removed the left one, it would look like this. Shit, no. Okay, I was right. It's just that they actually spell it out for you. Damn. There is sound reasoning to which L you need to grab. It's just Beato did it wrong, and I didn't notice. If you line it up this way, it's easy to see the next step. The R gets shifted to the right. This way, all of the letters are spread out evenly. This must be it. And this next part is another tough one. Praise my name. It's already clear that this is a word game. Those who remain shall praise my noble name. Am I supposed to do something with the remaining 5 letters? I am supposed to do something with the remaining 5 letters. That was a statement and not a question. Most likely rearrange them. U, D, R, L, O. Can I do something with these 5 letters to give them some sort of meaning? Praise my name. How can I get stuck after coming so far? How are these 5 letters supposed to praise a name? That man's name is Ushiromiya Kinzo. Is the U part of Ushiromiya? No. Several letters don't match, and there aren't nearly enough letters to make Ushiromiya. One thing that is certain. My name must refer to Kinzo. Then, does the U stand for Ushinomiya after all? Like an initial? Then, what do the D, R, L, and O stand for? They can't mean Kinzo. Do the R and O stand for Rokanjima? The master of Rokanjima, Kinzo. Not nearly enough letters. This riddle left me totally confused. However, there are only 5 letters left. There can't be so many possible combinations of those. There can't be so many possible combinations of those letters. I could use process of elimination. Thinking I'd play around with it, I pulled out the U. There were 4 letters left. D, R, L, and O. My idea that the U stood for Ushinomiya was like a heavenly oracle. When I removed the U, I thought of making a word with the remaining 4 letters. D, R, L, and O. Those 4 letters spun around in my head, changing their orders, and led me to a single English word that would serve to praise Kinzo. It's Lord. Lord. I had absolutely no basis for it. However, it was like a flash of inspiration. I quickly changed the letters around before that flash faded from my mind. L-O-R-D. Lord. You. Ushinomiya. Lord Ushinomiya. How do you like that? On the 4th twilight, gouge the head. Oh. It was a key, so it wouldn't turn if it was the wrong one. But it did turn. I could gouge it. With the sound of scraping stone, I gouged the first letter, the L, and then pulled it out. Next, the 5th twilight. Gouge the chest and kill. The O was gouged and pulled out easily. Then the R. Next, the D. And finally, the U. When I turned the key of the U, I could feel a resistance, as though some mechanism had been activated. I waited for something to change, but nothing did. However, I had felt something happen. A secret door, something must have opened up somewhere around here. Waiting around won't accomplish anything. I've probably done everything I can here. All of the letters in quadrillion have been removed. On the 9th twilight, the witch revives and none shall be left alive. So now, as the witch, have I revived? The 10th twilight. The journey ends, and you shall reach the home of the gold. When I stepped down off the ladder and looked around, I immediately noticed that small change. That lion statue. At some point, the lion statue in front of the chapel had turned to face a different direction. What an elaborate mechanism! Did Kinzo plan up this extravagant device back when he first started building on this island? I walked up to the lion statue and stared at it. Other than the fact that it was pointing a different direction, nothing had changed. In that case, is the lion looking at something in particular now? I followed its line of sight and saw another lion statue. And that lion statue had also changed its direction. I see. So, let the lions guide you. As elaborate as ever, I see, Kinzo. You could call this a land of lions. So Maria's whole bit was foreshadowing. I wasn't complaining anymore. I felt a bit of respect and awe at Kinzo for setting up such an intricate device, and having it go undiscovered for all these years. There were lion statues standing like guards at the entrance and the corners of the chapel. The direction they faced had changed, pointing around to the back of the chapel. There was something there. It was no longer a surprise. This was after the mechanism of the relief, after being guided by the lines. So, when a gaping open secret passageway appeared, with stairs leading down to the darkness below, it wasn't surprising to me anymore. So, is this the entrance to the Golden Land, Kinzo? Also, congrats, cat. Good thinking. Did you find it? Grandfather's gold? Yes. At the end of my long, long journey was the Golden Land. According to the previous games, there was an underground VIP room there, along with the 10 tons of gold, right? Yes. After going down a rough stairway, there was a door at the end of the passage. Inside, it's beautifully furnished, a true VIP room. And was the gold all you found there? Yes, at the time. It would be a lie to say that I was not dizzied by the sight of all that gold stacked high. Is this real? I lightly touched the pile of gold with my finger. It was hard and cold. I had almost thought that it might crumble like a sandcastle if I touched it. Now, there could be no doubt. This certainly was a 10-ton pile of gold ingots. Considering the amount of gold I just found, I figured I ought to be crying out in delight. I didn't really feel like laughing, but I thought it only good manners to do so in a situation like this, so I forced it out. Because of this, only a few feeble laughs slipped from my mouth. At that moment, even stronger than any delight, was a feeling as though I'd entered a place I wasn't supposed to be. For a while, all I could do was stand there shocked, unsure what I should do now that the epitaph's riddle had been completed. Then, I heard approaching footsteps. They were coming from the stairway I had entered by. Someone was coming. Could it be Kinzo? If he finds out I've been in a place like this, won't I get scolded harshly? I thought about hiding and pretending this never happened, but my legs wouldn't move. I kept standing there, stunned, in front of the pile of gold, as the footsteps drew closer and closer. The door opened. I saw how it was. It wasn't Kinzo. You. Did you reach this place by your power alone? Indeed. For some time, Genji stared at Beato in silence, as though he was calculating something. Then, he slowly clapped his hands together. He did it again, over and over. It took quite a long time before I realized that he was applauding me. The master has said that he will hand over the gold and the headship to the first person who solves the epitaph. And he believed that this person would be Beatrice.
Beatrice? Me?
This is fate. It is fate that brought you to this day.
I didn't really understand what Genji was saying. The shock of seeing the gold still had me paralyzed.
Come this way.
Okay.
Genji opened a closet. Inside it was a dress form wearing a beautiful dress made of black cloth and golden stitching. When I saw it, I understood immediately. It was the witch's dress. The black dress worn by the Beatrice in the portrait. Change into this.
This is...
It is something that you once wore.
I've never worn a dress like this.
However, I understood what Genji meant. This dress was one that Beatrice once wore. And the one who shows a miracle by solving the epitaph is Beatrice. By reaching this room, I had succeeded the position of the real Beatrice, the one in the portrait. Why do I call myself Beatrice? Because the name of the Golden Witch who rules over Rokanjima's night is Beatrice. That's right. I was never the real Beatrice. I was a different witch, stealing the name of the witch from Kinzo's delusions. And now, I have become the real Beatrice. By solving the epitaph's riddle, I would achieve my resurrection. I was the one who decided on that rule, or so I thought. But, as it turns out, this really was a ritual to resurrect Beatrice. I believed that I could create my own fate with magic. I was a master of that magic, yet fate had led me here by the hand. At this moment, I was forced to truly accept and believe in this word called fate. And after I put this on, you will go to the master. Ready yourself. Wait here.
Okay.
My lord, it is Genji. After Genji knocked, the sound of the study's door unlocking could be heard. After a single glance telling me to wait, Genji entered alone. I cannot believe this day has come. Fate can be such a strange thing. Kumasawa was with us too. I thought this dress, which didn't really suit me, would lead to a lot of jokes, but she didn't laugh at me at all. On the contrary, when she saw me, her expression had turned stern, as though a long-awaited day had finally come. My heart raced. It wasn't supposed to matter who solved the epitaph. There shouldn't be anything strange about me solving it. Everyone else maintained solemn expressions, and that, along with everything else, made this feel like some sort of grand ceremony. The suffocating silence continued. Eventually, the door opened and Genji peeked out. "Please, enter. Beatrice-sama." He was saying those words to me, but not to the person I had been until a short while ago. "Go ahead, Beatrice-sama." Kumasawa also urged me forward with a respectful bow. Kinzo was probably waiting for me inside. What expression should I wear as I go in? How should I greet him? I don't have a clue. As the two of them motioned me forward, it was all I could do to avoid tripping over my dress as I walked. "Kinzo-san, she is here." Kinzo was before the portrait of Beatrice, crouched on the ground as though kneeling. At Nanjo's words, he slowly turned, still crouching. Oh. Kinzo's eyes were already red with crying. When he saw me, he groaned with wonder. "Beatrice. Beatrice." Had he even forgotten how to stand up? He crawled over to where I was. As he called out to me with the name of the woman he'd loved long ago, I was too stunned to move. Then, Kinzo grabbed the hem of my dress, gripped it tightly, then curled up and sobbed. "Beatrice, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I knew how you felt, and yet I'm so sorry. Forgive me. Forgive me, I beg you." There was nothing I could say. However, just standing here like this was all I needed to do. Kinzo's moment of atonement, the moment he had spent half of his life searching for, had finally come. A human's life is packed with sin. So, humans seek forgiveness while they still live. However, in most cases, there are none in this world capable of giving such forgiveness. It was like that for Kinzo. There was no longer anyone in the world who could give that to him. But a miracle had woven one together, and in this moment, he had obtained the impossible. "Oh, Beatrice, Beatrice, you need not forgive me. You need not say anything. All I ever wanted was to say one word of apology." Kinzo kept grasping the dress's hem and sobbing. The sins of humans are not forgiven by other people. They find forgiveness through regret and repentance. I want to believe that some sin, some fault of his, has been forgiven thanks to the way I look. Kinzo's sobbing gradually ceased, and he slowly looked up at me and rose. He staggered. Nanjo rushed forward to support him. "To know that you are alive, it brings me such joy." This time, his words weren't directed through me, but at me. I hesitated, unsure how I should respond. "My lord, I beg your forgiveness for keeping this a secret from you all this time. No matter. I do not fault you, Genji. Considering the sin I committed, every single day until now has been necessary for my atonement. However, there can be no doubt that today's miracle is a true one. By her own power, without anyone's help, she solved the epitaph before anyone else. You did well to solve that convoluted epitaph.
Thanks.
Yes, your voice resembles your mother's. Even your face reminds me of that mother and daughter. There can be no doubt that Beatrice's blood flows through your veins.
Yes, the traces of the Lady of Korodorian in her youth are right there.
Who are they saying I look like? Beatrice-sama. Please forgive me for keeping what I am about to tell you a secret for all this time. You are the child of Beatrice-sama and the Master.
What?
It's true. You've been raised as a child without parents. However, your true father is the Master, and your true mother is Beatrice-sama.
Is that... really?
Yes. You truly are a descendant of Beatrice-sama.
Is such a strange fate really possible? I dreamed about it. Dreamed about what it'd be like to be the Golden Witch Beatrice. But that dream was for me alone. So I dreamed that if I solved the epitaph and carried out its ritual, I would revive as the true Beatrice. Is it really conceivable that after I solved it, Beatrice actually did revive? I truly carry Beatrice's blood.
Yes. There is no doubt of that whatsoever.
It must have been hard for you to live until this day without knowing a parent's affection. And yet, look at how wonderfully you've grown. So, you all knew about me?
Genji, Kumasawa, and even Nanjo nodded wordlessly.
Now that I think about it, that explains so many things. I was always, in some way, special. Genji, and especially Kumasawa, always treated me very kindly. Then, does that mean this day is a promised day which would eventually have come no matter what? I don't understand anything anymore. It's all God's miracle. The promised fate has led me to this day.
Beatrice.
No.
Leon. That is the name I wanted to give you. It is your true name. Leon. I will now return to you everything that Beatrice gave me. I return to you the gold, as well as everything of the Ushiramiya family, which was created by it.
Kinzo stuck out a wrinkled hand.
On his finger was a ring with the one-winged eagle crest, which was the symbol of the Ushiramiya family head. He pulled it off, grasped it tightly, and then held it out to me. I didn't know what to do. Slowly, as though they were being drawn forward, I held out my hands, palms up. After pressing his fist against my cupped hands, Kinzo slowly opened his hand and let the ring drop. Leon, my child, that your fate has been toyed with as a result of my sin. Please, forgive me. You now inherit my ring as the new and proper head of the Ushiromiya family. All of that gold belongs to you. I ask that you use it as you please and hope that it will be enough to heal some small part of the pain you have suffered. That trifling amount of gold may be nothing in comparison with the sin I committed. But even so, it should be enough to bring you some comfort.
Thank you.
Leon, I have one final request.
What is that?
Could you call me?
Sorry, what did you say?
Could you call me Father? I understand why you are not able to. I have not been a father to you in any way. Furthermore, you have been raised without knowing anything about your father. I realize that it's not a name you can call me by. And I realize that I have no right to ask this of you. But knowing all of that, still, I ask you, if I could just hear that, I would have no further regrets. After being asked like that, was it possible for me to refuse? Even if I am his child, I cannot see him as my father. So I felt a strong resistance to saying that word. But I decided that saying it was the right thing to do. Only God can truly forgive sins. But, though it may be temporary, people can be saved by the forgiveness of others. Father. That awkward word made Kinzo laugh. Drops of silver fell from both of his eyes. At that moment, the shadow that had covered his face was wiped away. Thank you, Leon, my child, and Beatrice as well. Thank you for this last chance to ask for forgiveness. Of course, I don't believe that such a simple act will earn me forgiveness. The rest I will do as I burn in the fires of hell. I, Ushiromiya Kinzo, have no more regrets in this life.
None at all.
No regrets or things left undone. Looking up to the heavens, Kinzo spread his arms as though facing an applauding audience, laughing at the top of his lungs. It was the final pleasure, known only by those who have been released from all regrets of this world. Kinzo's laugh weakened, and when it disappeared, he dropped to his knees, like a puppet with its strings cut, and slowly fell to the ground. My lord. Dr. Nanjo. Yes. Though their master had fallen, they walked up to him slowly. They already knew. Kinzo's soul had already burned itself out. After checking Kinzo's pulse, Nanjo shook his head and stood back up. It was a peaceful death. I don't think he had any regrets at all. It may be that the master died long before now. It was only his magic and tenacity that kept him here so long. And
once he finally had a chance to apologize to Beatrice for everything, he had finished everything he had to do.
Please, rest in peace. I believe that you have redeemed yourself.
Father. That was the one-night reunion between me and my father, and also our final farewell.
This gold all belongs to you now. If you wish to exchange it for money, I can arrange for that. I hear it's worth 20 billion in yen. All of your dreams in this world can now be granted with money.
It must be tough to think of what to do with this much money when it suddenly comes your way. There's nothing I desire among things money can buy. So, for the present, I would like to leave this here. Of course, I'm glad I have a lot of money. However, money can't heal the pain in my heart. I just want him to come back.
As you wish. Then it shall be left here. Also, take this key.
What is this?
It is the key to this underground VIP room. If you use this, you won't need to use the more complicated device.
She was the only one who knew the answer to the epitaph's riddle, and the only key to this place was now hers. At this point, she truly was the master of this golden VIP room.
You are already the master of Rokkenshima. You have the right to know all of this island's secrets. We should talk about Kuadorian too.
That's the mansion your mother lived in. I'm sure you've heard rumors about it. Kuadorian.
There are two mansions on this island, one at either end. One is the mansion we know well. The other is a hidden mansion known as Kuadorian.
Below this island are the remains of a military base built during the war. The master used that to travel between the two ends of the island.
There is an underground path in the back of this room, and if you follow it, you will reach the basement of Kuadorian on the other end of this island. That is a secret mansion, which only the master knew of. Of course, that mansion, like everything else, now belongs to the new head.
It's the mansion your mother lived in. It's probably worth taking a trip over there sometime. My mother. I've lived alone my whole life. The only person I've ever felt like calling mother is Kumasawa-san, who always helped me out. The mansion where a mother I've never met or nor seen lived. Who in the world am I?
Ask any questions you wish. You now deserve to know everything.
Right now, I'm feeling very confused. I don't even know where I should start asking questions. But I'm sure I'll think of plenty of things to ask about. When I do, please tell me.
As you wish.
Also, being treated so respectfully like that is a bit uncomfortable. I'd be happier if you could talk to me the same way you've always done.
If that is what you wish, then I will do so.
That's easier for me too.
Well now. What will we do now, Genji-san? Kinzo-san is dead. I will tell Kraus-sama and Madam that he has passed away. Then, we must tell them that Leon-sama is the official successor to the headship. After all, from this point forth, you are the Ushiromiya family head.
Me as the head? That's... And isn't Kraus-sama the successor?
The one who solves the epitaph's riddle is the successor. There exists a will specifying this. The Master's final order was that you were to inherit everything.
Please wait.
Real quick, I just want to make sure to save. Because I just realized that we haven't done that at all this whole time. Oopsies.
I appreciate the sentiment, but I can't do the job of being the successor, and I can't accept such a big responsibility. I think it would be better for Kraus-sama to inherit that role.
Are you certain?
Today, I've learned who I am. Everyone knows about their parents, but I didn't since the time of my birth. And here, today, I finally learned the truth. That alone is enough for me. If I suddenly became the Ushiromiya family head, how would Kraus-sama react? How angry would Madam be? I don't want to become the head if it means making them feel like that. Today I learned who I am. Who gave birth to me, how and when. These are things I want to learn from them as time goes by. That alone is enough. I am Leon, and I am the Golden Witch, Beatrice. Knowing that is enough for me. And I don't plan on calling myself the head. Kraus-sama can take that job.
Is that your order as the Ushiromiya family head?
Yes.
As you wish, Master. Then I will make it so.
And please, don't tell anyone about what happened tonight. I want to stay me. There's nothing I'd want to do if I had the Ushiromiya headship or the gold. I want to wait, here on this island, as I have done in the past. I want everything to be exactly the same as it was. That's my only wish.
As you wish, Master. Everything that has happened tonight will not go beyond those present here. Kumasawa, Dr. Nanjo. That is the wish of the new head. If that's what you want, I have no objections. Kinzo-san's will entrusts everything to you. If that is what you want to do, none of us will complain. One sec.
Also, thank you for the save reminder. You say exactly the same as it was, but do you really mean exactly the same? With no differences at all? Yes. We'll keep this a secret. This place and the gold will be sealed away. If I need money, I'll ask you about it then. That's enough for me.
As you wish. The mechanism leading to this place and the key both belong to you. And all of us swear to keep the events of this night a secret. Kraus-sama will be the successor. But in my heart, you will be the only true successor. As you have ordered, we will behave the same way we always have, but please order us whenever it suits you. You are my only master.
Thank you very much.
a vast mountain of gold, and the ring of the Ushiromiya family head, the dress of the portrait Beatrice, and I became the true Beatrice, the Golden Witch, right here in my very own Golden Land. If I think about it, not much has actually changed. After all, I've always been the Golden Witch. I've just had a few more people acknowledge that. November 29th, the day I became a true witch. Oh, I am one, yet many. I'm the Golden Witch, Beatrice. The true ruler of Rokkanjima, and the possessor of endless gold. Yet, I am in no way complete. Here, I wait for the return of the one person I love. And that is the end of my tale.
Oh, you're ending it there? But aren't the next 2 years the fun part?
We don't need them. After all, we've heard in the past games about your inner conflict and how you suffered. You don't need to say any more.
You mean the conflict of the furniture with incomplete souls? There was a duel. The result had almost been decided. However, the year 1986 was incredibly merciless.
I'll bet you cursed your fate.
Yes. If it had been 1 year sooner, or else 1 year later,
the duel would have been settled, though in different forms. Silently, Claire hung her head. If only I had been given time. Or else, if I hadn't been given time to think and agonize. I curse everything. Why did it have to be 1986?
I decided to delegate my fate. Delegate it? Like the ritual by which I inherited everything from the previous head, I decided to put myself in the hands of that fate called a miracle. It may be more accurate to say that I entrusted my fate to a spin of the roulette. We could not even decide our own fate, so we let fate decide everything for us. Perhaps someone's efforts would be rewarded, or perhaps all would be joined and set free, or perhaps someone would be kind enough to put a stop to this lunacy. No matter which fate the roulette chose, I planned to obey its ruling. I would not resist fate. After all, whenever I've tried in the past, fate has always been heartless to me. Claire hung her head and let a single tear drop down. Humans will carelessly say that people have infinite possibilities. However, the Endless Witch knows how limited those possibilities really are. So, within the limits of her fate, she tried to find the infinite. By entrusting her fate to God, she tried to find the infinite. However, the
this does not mean that she abandoned her fate, because she spun fate's roulette with an unshakable and certain will. A certain fate, where absolutely no one could escape if the epitaph was not solved. With it, she sealed up the island, herself included. October 4th and 5th, 1986, were sealed away by an absolute and certain will. And she entrusted herself to one of the fates that could be chosen in that short span of time on that island. And now, my confession is truly over. This should be enough to find the motive for the crime. If you still do not know, I will say no more. It's not as though anyone could understand my heart anyway. Yeah, there's no need to say anymore. After watching how I wandered into a dead end of fate, Leo, do you see how great a hope you represent to me? I'm a different possibility for you. The fact of your happiness makes me jealous, but to an even greater degree, it shines brightly in my eyes and makes me smile. You are a possible future. Right now, that fact is my salvation. I live with enough happiness for the both of us. I'm glad I got to meet you once, at the end. You have my thanks, Lady Brunecastle. I'm just carrying out your funeral. There's no need to thank me. Well, it's about time to end this. It's about time to send the dead to the land of the dead. Yes. This is my funeral, after all. It's time for me to go back to where I belong. Don't make that face. And please, rejoice that you are not me. After all, I rejoice in that fact as well. I'll live life for the both of us. Thank you. Live in happiness, and someday find yourself a wonderful person. I pray that you live as a human, without awakening as a witch. That you have a whole and single soul, and love one person with all your strength. I hope you live your life like that. Okay. Well, son, I thank you for being an observer. You weren't the one I truly wanted to understand me, but you saved my heart. I understand you. I don't ignore the harm. Thank you. So, now that I have a splendid observer who understands me, I want to entrust my final moments to you. Are you sure? Yes. For me, the most important thing is whether the person understands me, not how well I know them. The one I wanted to understand me didn't. A person with no connection to me did. There's nothing sad about it. On the contrary, the fact that a person with no relation to me was still able to understand me is a miracle that I feel grateful for. You are a good observer, and the only one who has managed to understand me. That connection is strong enough. Alright. Alright, I am also going to look something up really fast. Or try to. I'm navigating away from the page that I need to look this up. this is where I'm gonna end it today. Because, I know it's coming up. And surprisingly, the super sad part that I thought was coming up now didn't happen. So that saved us a bunch of pain. For later. We did cover a massive amount. A lot happened. And really, in a way, this is what it was all building up to. But next week is gonna be, well, intense. Because we have to deal with Claire's funeral. So I think this is a really good place to stop it. Because then we have a nice, good starting point for next time to really dive into things. So, yeah. God, this episode was good. I'm not saying that about my own stream, right? I'm saying this about just, I love the story, and I love all the stuff that happened today. I noticed there's a slightly altered version of, what was the song called again? Song Without a Name, which is one of my favorites. There's a slightly alternate version of that song in this version of the game. Hell yes, big fan. And at some point, Bring the Fate plays, which is the ending song, or one of the ending songs of the first arc, which is good. So good. And yeah, when I read all this, I also realized, like, yeah, I was never going to solve that epitaph, but let me tell you, at the time, people had figured it out. Like, we weren't sure, and there were some bits that you only really, like, that need a location, right? Because it's like a physical thing. So obviously didn't get to that part, but there were people like, oh, it's gotta be a rail, it's gotta be this location, and man, people really just straight up figured it out. And I saw like all the discussions at the time, it was so cool. Yeah, same, I would not have thought of looking at a map, because where would you even start? You know? But no, people actually, before... Well, okay, in episode 3, Ava finds a book. She goes specifically looking for a book, and that gave some people the idea, what if it's an atlas? And then they fucking somehow managed to figure out that it's Taiwan. And like, it blows my mind that people figured it out from all that. And also the Golden Land, Land of the Gold. There was so much discussion beforehand, before any of this was like confirmed or revealed, or even hinted at, that was like relevant. People were already picking up on it. Crazy good. And then in the end, it really is kind of like a childish riddle, like Battler says in episode 5, I believe. All that, and then you end up with Lordu. Still, that must have taken a lot of effort to set up. It's overall, I think it's pretty impressive. And also kind of characteristic of Kinzo, because, you know, he's obsessed with the Western things, so it kind of, yeah, it really does. It sounds like the kind of thing he would do, right? It's totally believable for him. And yeah, the writer for coming up with it, and also for coming up with it in a way that it's like in character. What a legend, right? He is great. I'm a big fan. Anyway, this was a bit of a longer episode, so thank you for sticking it out with me. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely did. I really enjoyed reading this episode, despite, well, my voice hurts, and I'll regret it I will regret it in the morning, but I'll feel it in the morning for sure. But it was worth it. And, I still am going to be careful with what I talk about and what I don't talk about, because if you haven't figured out who Claire is at this point, you might still, you could still figure it out. Keep thinking. There's so many hints, but you'll get there, and I don't want to take that away from anyone. So yeah. But yeah, it all lines up, or like 99% of it lines up. Nah, I think it all lines up. I would love to know who you think it is, but maybe share it in like spoilers in the Discord if you want, or wait and be like, I knew it, or oh, I was wrong. That works too. Up to you. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I shall bop us over to the end screen because I forgot. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Kat, for being in the chat. I appreciate it. Thank you to anyone lurking right now. Thank you if you're watching the VOD. I hope you have a great night, a great week, and I'll see you again on Monday, or on Wednesday, or hell, right now if you're watching the VOD, and it's like several weeks in the future. If you want to keep watching, it's no big deal. It's okay if you don't want to. But yeah, back on Monday with the usual stream. Gonna pop this on YouTube the second I can. And then we're gonna be back on Wednesday with, you know what? I'm not gonna say what with, but it's going to get intense. Bring your notebooks. That's what I'll say. Bring your notebooks. Alright. Sleep well, and if it's the middle of the day, sleep well later in the evening when you get around to it. I don't know why I said that. Time has no meaning. It's a construct. Sleep whenever you want. Have a great day, and thank you again. See you next time. Bye-bye.